make sure we speak into the mic.
No.
Hey everybody, I'm Dwayne Davison. Welcome to Fourth Friday on Ethiopia. You are in the right place if you're looking for some good Ethiopian food, which will be served a little bit later. For any newcomers in the crowd, when the presentation's over at 8:30, we'll kind of clear out a space here and then socialize, listen to some more Ethiopian music, which we'll go ahead and turn off now, as a matter of fact. And thank you. And you guys will be able to socialize and meet and greet other internationals in the crowd here. So let's see. No Fourth Friday next month. Anybody know why?
No idea.
No idea. Okay.
International Festival.
So,
Festival.
World
At
Cultural
Village.
Festival, Sunday, September 15th. There's some bookmarks over there. Grab as many as you like. Pass out to friends and family. And yeah, Sunday, September 15th from 12 to 5. So no Fourth Friday in September. But we are glad you're here tonight. A couple of things. We are, for the first time, ahead of the festival, going to do a popcorn parade march. And we are looking for a few folks that are international that would like to dress up in their native outfits and perhaps carry a flag or a sign, or just without, that's fine. But we do have a kind of an old pickup truck with a globe that's going to be in it, and we would like some marchers. So if no one volunteers, I'll be calling on you right now. So if I don't see any hands, then I'm going to randomly choose people who will march the entire parade. So, okay, Zika is in. Zika's in. Thank you for volunteering. I appreciate that.
Sorry, no. I'm already emceeing the other thing, okay?
That's true. Actually, Zika from Kazakhstan is one of our MCs at the festival. So you get a pass. Okay. Sir, what is your name, please?
I'm not from Valparaiso.
Not from Valparaiso?
No.
Okay, better than for our purposes. So on Saturday, September 7th, you will be marching in the parade, correct?
No, I'm not going to be there in September. I'm in Atlanta.
Okay, so Aman also marching in the parade. So we have 2 volunteers. I need 1 more. Anybody? No, we do seriously need and want some folks who will be joining us. It's 8 days before the festival, and so that's a perfect time to get the word out. So please tell your family and friends, and it's our biggest event of the year. So please come. Hugh McGuigan, our board chair, would like to introduce a couple of folks to you guys. So,
Yeah,
Hugh.
thank you, Dwayne. I'm very pleased to welcome, and I hope you extend a warm welcome to 3 visiting scholars from our partner university in Hangzhou, China, Zhejiang University. They were supposed to arrive on Tuesday. Their flight went into San Francisco, and they didn't catch the one to Chicago. So they saw a little bit of San Francisco. They had to stay overnight. So they arrived on Wednesday. We had a welcome lunch at Dynasty Buffet today, and I thought, well, maybe they'd like to start their activity in Valpo by coming to the Fourth Friday event. And they had nothing planned. They were eager to do so, so I picked them up at 6:30, and here they are. Warm welcome. This is Tom, this is Who, and this is One.
All right, thanks, Hugh. So anyway, onwards with the presentation tonight. So Ethiopia, anybody been to Ethiopia or know anything about it? I think these guys do, yes. So I will just give you a brief background. Amman and Tigist and their Two boys, Beru and Bereket, a baby, went to Valparaiso University, settled in Valpo, bought a home, worked here. You may have tasted their Ethiopian food, which we featured at the Vic for some time on Friday nights. And they are a local family, and Aman's niece Leah came to Valparaiso University, and her friend Sara, also from Ethiopia. They are both Valparaiso University students. Don't oftentimes have students, so we are happy to have them. And then also, let's see, Lucia, could you introduce our friend real quickly from Zimbabwe?
Hi, my name is Lucia, and then I also go to VU, and so then I invited my friend Kuda here from Zimbabwe to come as well. And Kuda knows Sara and Yabtsega as well. So.
Welcome, Kuda. So, yeah, we're glad you're here, and just so you know, this will be available online in a couple of days at valpovic.org. And if you go there, you'll see presentations from the past 2 years recorded. Done almost 60 different countries. We have done Ethiopia once before, about 10 years ago. Tersit.
Law student.
Yep, Tersit long ago, 10 years ago. But anyway, onwards with the program. So thank you guys for being here. Please give Leah and Sara a warm welcome.
Hello, thank you guys for coming. Today we'll be presenting about Ethiopia, like our friends here have mentioned. But at first, we would like to thank you for coming, and our first slide is mostly about the historical legacy of Ethiopia. So if anyone knows, Ethiopia is found in the Horn of Africa, and it's landlocked, even though we have neighboring countries around, and we're closer to the Indian Ocean. And we are about like 609 million miles away from Valparaiso.
Wow.
Feels like it, yeah.
Ethiopia wasn't always called Ethiopia. The name that it used to go by was Abyssinia. It was the ancient region of the Ethiopian Empire that is situated in the northern highlands of modern-day Ethiopia and modern-day Eritrea, which is located on the northern side of Ethiopia. Right now it's a landlocked country, but back then when it was Abyssinia, it used to include Eritrea, Djibouti, and some other neighboring countries as well. So we used to have a port. It wasn't always a landlocked country.
The first, like the longest kingdom in like the 4th century, we had a king in Aksum. His name was King Ezra. He introduced Christianity. Christianity was introduced to him by Egyptian ministers who come to Ethiopia to introduce a new religion. And Christianity, specifically Orthodoxy, has been the longest religion that is still practiced in Ethiopia.
Out of all the dynasties that we had in our history, the Solomonic dynasty was the ruling dynasty of the Ethiopian Empire from the 13th to the 20th centuries. It was founded by Yukunu Amlak, who is claimed to have descended from the legendary king Menelik I, son of the biblical King Solomon and Queen Sheba, as you all may have heard about it before. And Ethiopia covers a land of 1,112,000 square kilometers, so it's a pretty big country and it has a lot of population in it. So it was a pretty big empire back then as well. Okay, cool. The picture that you see on the side is the coat of arms that we used to go by when in the 13th, between the 13th and the 20th century.
The Solomonic dynasty has been the longest running dynasty in Ethiopia. As you can see, at first we had King David and King Solomon and Queen of Sheba and Menelik the First, who has ruled the northern part of Ethiopia for a while. And again, we follow down and we see that the first historical emperor and Dil Naod, and then Queen Gudit, and then both of them separated and had different lines. We are not sure who the son was leading to the Solomonic dynasty, but the first emperor was Yakonu Amlak. And there's many generations and many empires that had descended from the same bloodline that had ruled Ethiopia for a long time.
One of our historical legacies is the Battle of Adwa, which took place between March 1st and 2, 1896. This battle was the final conflict of the First Italian-Ethiopian War and was a turning point in the European colonial mission known as the Scramble for Africa. This was a very significant battle for us because after winning this battle, we were renamed the only uncolonized country in Africa.
Like Yabtsega mentioned, we were the first African country who were able to defend and not be colonized. We're not the only one, but we were the one who actually fought the battle and won, and we were able to keep our history, legacy, and language as well.
After winning this battle, later on, our country was occupied by the Italians during the Mussolini era in 1936 for about 5 years before we were able to free ourselves, and we have not been colonized ever since, so we've been a free country.
The historical legacy, mostly the most famous emperor that we had in Ethiopia is Emperor Menelik. He was able to have a lot of connections around the world, and he was who unified Ethiopia as a country. We were mostly tribal and specifically scattered around the same area, but it was the first time that we were united, and the whole the Ethiopian map has come to be after that. But after there was a war that happened that resulted for the Eritrea to be independent, and in the 1991.
So, like I said before, we used to not be a landlocked country until Eritrea voted to secede in 1991. So afterwards, we became a landlocked country.
Okay, so let's talk about the geography of Ethiopia. So we follow a different calendar than the Gregorian calendar. We use the Ge'ez calendar. We're currently in 2016, if I'm not wrong. And based on the ancient Coptic calendar, we have 13 months, but the 13th month is only 5 to 6 days during a lap year. And we have 12 months of 30 days each.
Which is why some people refer to us as the 13 months of sunshine, because we, unlike any other country, have 13 months.
Unlike Valpo, with the brutal winter weather, we don't have any snow. We have only 2 major seasons. We have the desert, the warm season, and we have Bega, which we call it when it's raining. And that's the closest to our winter.
Yeah, when I came to this country for the first time is when I saw snow for the first time, because it never snows back home. It's always either raining or it's really warm. It's not even that hot. Like usually the highest it would go would be 65 to 72 degree Fahrenheit. And our average elevation is around 4,300 feet. So it's a pretty like highland and plateau.
So I think one of the things that I really like about Ethiopia is that we have different seasons, like not different seasons, but different geographical climates. Like if you go to the north, it's mostly very desert, and if you go to the middle, it's mostly like equatorial because the equatorial line passes, and it's kind of like Amazonian. And if you go down, it's like lowland, highland, and we have different, as you can see in the pictures there, we have an active volcano right above us, and we have the lowest point in Africa. And here is like the salt, it's found in afar, and it's like an active volcano. And we have like very high mountainous areas, and it's very much an adventure whenever you drive, even like 2 hours, and you're like, this is totally different weather. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. And we have Blue Line, and that's like the most famous river that we have, the Nile River that passes through Khartoum, Sudan, Cairo in Egypt. And it rises as an abai from the spring in the northern west Ethiopia.
Yes, it rises as we call it Abai in our language, from a spring in the northwestern Ethiopia. It's actually a lake that's called Lake Dana. That's where it originates first. And it is the headstream of the Nile River. As you may know, Nile River is the longest river in the whole world, and almost 70% of it, mainly the soil, travels to Sudan and Cairo and Egypt from Ethiopia directly. And at the moment, we are building the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam because for many, many years, we've let this river just flow through our country, and we have not been able to use its resources to our own good. But countries like Sudan and Egypt have had multiple uses for it, and that is how they've become the country they are right now. Because of this dam, we have had some conflicts with Egypt and Sudan because it came off as if their line was going to be cut off when we built our dam, but that was not the case. But it's still an issue that's trying to be solved right now, but we have finally realized the use of it, and we're making use of that resource right now. And as Sara mentioned earlier, we have active volcano. This is actually the longest existing lava lake present since 1906, and it goes by the name Irta'ale. It means smoking mountain. It's a continuously active basaltic volcano within the Danakil Depression, the Afar region of Ethiopia. It is still to this day active, and it is the hottest place on earth. We have a video over here for you guys to see if it plays. I think it's gonna play, but there's an ad. Oh my.
You can skip the ad now.
By the way.
I guess we're just gonna have to watch
No, you
that.
can skip it.
Very important.
Yeah, it's very important.
You can skip it.
You can skip it.
Girls, no, probably not. Okay, there we go.
How big is that?
It's pretty big. It's pretty big. And it is still active, and that's a miracle. All right, that was just a little bit of a clip of the video. We're not gonna find that many because it's very, very hot to get close to, so all the videos are gonna be from further away. But as you can see, it is the desert, and this is the Afar region of Ethiopia, which is mostly like desert. There are many plants over there, and it is very, very hot over there that people can't even wear like their full clothing when going out. And there is the lava right there.
Does it erupt?
Yes, but not that much that it would cause a lot of damage. And this volcano is found, as I mentioned earlier, in a place called Denakil Depression. This is 124 by 31 miles, lying in northern Afar region of Ethiopia, the same place. It is the hottest place on Earth, like I mentioned. It's one of the lowest places on Earth, found at 100 meters or 330 feet below sea level. As you can see, that green color or the orange, it's not animation or anything. That is actually what it looks like because of the salt that has accumulated over many, many years on that floor. And the green part is also like, nobody can actually step into it because it's really dangerous, but it is one of the hottest places, and the volcano erupts from this low point in our country. Next, we're going to be talking about the diversity of religion in Ethiopia. I guess there's a presumption that Ethiopia is an Islamic country, but as you can see, 43% of it is Orthodox Christian, and 34% of it is a Muslim, and then the rest of them are Protestant and then other traditional beliefs. But the main two religions that we have are Christianity and Muslim. And as you can see, in many places there might be conflicts between the two religions, but in our country they're living pretty peacefully. As you can see, the sheikh and the priest holding hands and walking, and this is just to show the harmony that's in our country between the religions. Christianity in Ethiopia originated a long, long time ago, like Sara mentioned earlier, by King Izana is the first person to introduce Christianity to our country. And as you can see over here, the one on the left side is the Fasilides. It was built in Gondar. This is one of our 9 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And the second picture you see is called the Aksum. It is a very, very important one because it's one of our biggest heritage, but during the Italian-Ethiopian War, one of them was taken to Rome forcefully, but we were able to gain it back after many, many years recently. The one that's found in the middle is called the Lalibela Church. It is actually a church that's been carved out of one whole mountain, so it was built from top to bottom. It includes 11 churches within it, and the one on the right that you see is also the same thing. Like I said earlier, the Aksum obelisk was looted and sent to Rome during the Italian occupation in 1937, but it took us a long time, but we were able to bring it back to our country in 2005.
The next one we're talking about is the Christianity in Ethiopia in more depth. So, as you can see, like this mountain here is actually a church. So the mountain, it looks like it's a cross, and it's called a sacred place, and it's located in, it has a position of a true cross. And it was placed there on Meskel 21. So we have this celebration in Ethiopia where it would show like a bonfire of like to show where to find the cross, and that's how it came to be.
Yeah, as you can see over there, the mountain is shaped like a cross because it is said that it holds a portion of the true cross that Jesus Christ was sacrificed on. It was placed there on Muharram 21st. Like we mentioned earlier, we have 13 months and we follow our own calendar. Muharram is the first month for us, which corresponds to September 30th in the Gregorian calendar. During the mid-15th century was when this was placed, and the Church of Ethiopia August, meaning God of the Father, stands as the guardian of this precious relic for many centuries. So as you can see on the picture there, you can see many cars on the mountain, and that is because people use this as a holy journey. So like it's like a time to cleanse themselves and connect with God. So they go on a foot journey on top of this church, and it's a very, very long way. It's very difficult, but I guess that's just how they feel like they would connect to God. So this is a very sacred place for us.
Like I mentioned, like Mezcal is one of our biggest holidays. And the main thing is there was a history where a queen in the northern Ethiopia had burned a bunch of like wood to follow the smoke to find the true cross where Jesus Christ was crucified in. So the main holiday is just to cleanse the year. It's after the New Year, and not exactly, but like after 2 weeks of the New Year, we do this holiday to showcase like our beliefs in Jesus Christ, and it's colorfully dressed. And as you can see here, we do dress up colorfully, and we play music and our traditional music for church. And yeah, it's mostly just a get together, and it's mostly a patriarch of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Christian, and lighting the fire, and families reunite, and communication come together, fostering reconciliation.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest holidays that we have. Like she mentioned, it is a little bit after the New Year. So during Mezcal, or Mezcal literally means cross, so that's the name of the holiday, Ethiopians build this thing called damera. As you can see, it's like a bonfire made up of really big wood, and we call that damera. That's like the lighting of the fire across the country, and this is to symbolize what Sara mentioned earlier, when the queen followed the smoke to find where the true cross was. So we burned this in order to symbolize the fact that she was following the smoke. And people are colorfully dressed. As you can see, they're wearing green, yellow, and red, which is actually the color of our flag. And they chant hymns and perform rhythmic dances in front of the bonfires. And at the climax, the patriarch of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church lights the fire, and that's when all the celebration starts happening. Since this is around the time of New Year, it is decorated with green grass and Abyssinian daisies, which are the yellow daisies that we're really known for, and we use those to celebrate our New Year. So they're kind of connected with the New Year celebration. And speaking of, our New Year is celebrated on September 11 or 12 every leap year.
So our language in Ethiopia is very diverse, even though we have a national language that we all speak, not everyone, but especially people who live in the capital. We have over 80 languages, and it's mostly influenced by the ancient scriptic of Ge'ez. And the major languages that are spoken are Amharic, Oromo, Tigrinya, and Somali.
All right, another interesting thing is we also have our own alphabet, as you can see over here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to zoom in because I don't want to mess up the presentation, but this is only spoken in Ethiopia, and it's not exactly spelling it. These letters that you see are the exact sounds as they're written. So it's not like English where you would have to write a bunch of letters to pronounce one thing. Each thing is the sound of its own. And then we also have our own number. This is not very widely used right now because the Ge'ez script is one of the longest standing, they call it father of all language. And it is becoming extinct right now, but we're trying to keep it. We don't use these numbers as much because we use, the regular numbers that you see at the bottom. But this is part of our history, so we just wanted to share with you guys what it looks like. The next thing we're going to talk about is our culture. As we mentioned earlier, Ethiopia is a home of very, very different cultures. It's like a melting pot of traditions. One of our unique cultural practices is our coffee ceremonies. Speaking of coffee, we are considered the origin of coffee. That's where it started, is from our country. And it is accompanied by traditional music and dances such as iskista. As you can see on the picture on the side, people dress up in the kind of clothes that I'm wearing and that Sara's wearing right now. And the lady is basically serving the man coffee, and this is what we use. It's a traditional pot called jebena. That's what we use to brew the coffee. A lot of people seem to love Ethiopian coffee since it's really the authentic thing. And these are more pictures to show our coffee ceremony. As you can see on the left side, you can see the pot that I mentioned called jebena. It has like a tiny hole that you would use to pour out the coffee. And it's a very unique process because we're not using any machines or anything, espresso machines, to make the coffee. You literally put the powder and the water in there and you let it sit on coal, hot coal, and then it will boil itself. And then we would have to set it down in a tilted way so that the coffee grounds can stay at the bottom and the coffee, like the liquid part, will stay suspended at the top. And then when we pour it, it's a very delicate process, so if you don't do it the right way, you can mix up all the powder in there and it's just gonna be really nasty. So it takes a really good experience with that. On the right side, as you can see, we really value our coffee ceremony. So you don't just get up and drink coffee just for yourself. Usually it's family gathered around and you have like we have these tiny little glasses that we use, cups that we use for coffee, which you can see in the white box right there. And then on the side, we have a plate of popcorn. Surprisingly, popcorn is not really eaten when we watch movies back home. That's only like a Western type thing, I guess, because we only eat popcorn when we have our coffee ceremony, and you always have to have something to offer, like something to eat, to snack on when you offer coffee to your guests. On the far back, I don't know if you are able to see it, but we have like pieces of bread. That's our traditional bread that we make, and that is also served with the coffee. It's not on the picture right now, but we also have incense. It's like we use this thing made out of clay. We put coal in it, and we put like different scented incense on it, and then it's just like the smoke will come up, but it will smell really nice, and that's usually also done alongside the coffee ceremony. So that's just a little bit of a snippet to show you what it looks like.
The next is our traditional food. Have anyone tried injera before? You have? Yeah. And do you like it? It takes some kind of like taste to really like it. It's a little sour. It's like fermented overnight, over like a week actually. And it's our staple food. We usually use that to eat different things, like you can see here. We have like sauces and like things like that, like green. We also eat vegetarian things as well. So dorowet is our like the most famous one. It's a chicken stew, and dips is like just a meat. Kitfo is actually kind of a rare like raw meat, and we eat raw meat that we call the Yabtsega, and you usually eat it with spice.
What's tiff?
It's like a meat, but like cooked well. Oh, teif is like the grain that we use to make injera. It's actually found only in Ethiopia, so it's like mostly found in the area, and we use it to make the injera.
Yeah, just to build up on the depth, it's like barley or wheat, but it only grows in Ethiopia. So we would take that and then we would mix it with water, some yeast, and it will ferment over 3 to 4 days or a week maybe. The longer it stays, the better it tastes, they say. But that depends on every household and what they're used to. But the popular dishes, like Sara mentioned, are one of our famous one is the dorowet. Doro means chicken in our language, and what is the stew. And dips is basically like a stir-fried beef, or it can be lamb as well. And kitfo is a ground meat. It can either be served, medium rare, or you can cook it really well depending on your taste. The last one is Yabtsega, which is raw meat. It might be a little bit different because that's not really something everybody is used to, but it's part of a very big culture. And we don't get sick because usually after we eat this, we have this alcoholic drink called arake. It's a very, very strong alcoholic beverage, But it is said that if you drink that after you eat this, then it will kill any, bacteria or anything that can happen. So they really promote it, and it's a really, really sacred tradition. And coffee, as always, is going to be served with that as well.
Yeah, these are just more pictures of our food. This picture, yeah. How you eat the food is mostly just like you put different sauces in the plate, and mostly in Ethiopia, you don't have a single dish. You share one dish with everyone. So you have a big dish of like injera, and then you have toppings on top of it. And this is the Yabtsega. It's just a raw meat, but we have a sauce, like a spice that we use. And for religious purposes, we go vegetarian for 3 months, so we do eat a lot of vegetarian food throughout the year.
Do you drink your coffee black?
So depending on the tribe, you can like put butter. Yeah, you can put salt. But like sugar is not like, people use sugar, but sugar is not like very much accessible in our country for some reason. Like our industry for sugar is pretty, yeah.
Yeah, we usually take it black. Milk and stuff are not really known. I mean, the new generation now, like they were introduced to lattes and everything else, we would love to add milk or creamers on it, but usually it is just taken black. And as she mentioned, we do add butter sometimes, but that also depends on the culture. There's different tribes in different parts of the country, so different parts of the country drink their coffee in a different way. And as Sara mentioned, we do go vegetarian for about 3 months because that's our Lent season, which we share with other countries as well. So during Lent season, we would only be eating vegetarian food, but we do have a lot of dishes that are vegetarian. So even in the United States right now, we have our Ethiopian restaurants around the places. A lot of people love our food because we have many options for vegetarians. To start off, the flatbread that we make called injera has no additives in it. It is pretty much just the F itself and then water, and that's it. And then the bunch of different sauces that you see sitting around the corner are made of cabbage, beetroots, and lentils. The one sitting in the middle is also one of our very famous food. As if you guys have ever had Ethiopian food, then you would recognize some of these names. It's called Mr. Wet, the one in the middle. It can either be very spicy or it can be mild. We are known for our really spicy food, so for the people that cannot handle it, we do have our mild options. So as y'all may have known, or maybe not, we played a very big role in the Korean War. We played a major role because we were part of their victory. But legend says that one of the ways we contributed to this victory was when our soldiers were over there. Like we mentioned earlier, we do eat raw meat, but it's not very known, or not a lot of people know about it, and it can seem pretty strange. But what they did was they were sitting on the corpses of the enemies, and they were eating raw meat. So when the other soldiers from the other side were looking at them through the binoculars, they thought they were cannibals, so they were pretty scared of them, so they just ran away. And basically that's how they won the war. That is what legend says, and we're just gonna keep telling it, you know?
So these are just the mostly famous areas that you can go to. If you go to Ethiopia, you can go to Semi Mountain National Park. We have a lot of endemic animals there. And this is the Lalibela Rock Church. That's for you can go to the northern part. And this is the lake that connects to the Nile. It's like a big river. It's really pretty. It's also found in the northern part of Ethiopia. As you can see, the river may look a little bit brown and dirty, but that's because it has been washed up from a bunch of countries, passing through a bunch of countries, and it has accumulated all the soil. And as you can see, this is not a very recent picture because right now we are building a dam over it, but this was back then when we used to just let it flow, and we didn't really know how to make use of it. But right now we have managed to make good use of it.
And the one you see in the middle is called the Fasilides. It's also one of our very sacred places. Next, we're going to be discussing Ethiopia on a global stage. So I don't know if many of you are aware, but we're really known for our marathon runners, like Haile Gebrselassie and Ganesa Bekele. We have managed to accumulate around 58 medals, maybe not much, but we are really known in the marathon world. And an inventor of Ethiopian that we can talk about is Dr. Tilahun Yilma. He invented a genetical engineering vaccine for the deadly rinderpest disease. So that's one of the contributions that we have made to the global and contributions to the development of coffee culture globally. I mean, even Starbucks really advocates like our coffee. So as you can see, it's very important. And we just encourage you to explore and learn more about Ethiopia. There's a lot more that we have not been able to mention here, but you should definitely go visit, and we will not regret it. Thank you so much for your time.
So, that is Ethiopia in a nutshell. Coffee, who knew that coffee came from Ethiopia for tonight? Nope. Few people. Yeah. Pretty amazing, huh? You have them to blame for your addiction. So, now that's very suspect. 13 months of sunshine. That was written by a Chamber of Commerce, right? Very suspect. They come up with their own calendar just to suit their needs. That's crazy. Okay, Amhara, I want to hear you guys have a conversation in your native language.
There is 80 of them. There's one that's called Amharic, which is the official language of the country, which most part of it speaks. So we can just greet each other, I guess, and say hello in our language. Hi, እንዴት ነሽ? ሰላም ነው?
ሰላም ነኝ እንዴት ነሽ? ሁሉ ሰላም?
Very good. Okay, that was just a little bit of an exchange of saying, hi, how are you? And we usually respond with the saying, may God be blessed, I'm okay. So that's the part where we're like, እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን ደህና ነኝ. So that means like, we're okay thanks to God. So that's what we just said.
Keep going a little bit.
A little bit more? Okay.
I can also say like.
Tell us what we're gonna eat tonight.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We're gonna be eating.
Amharic.
Okay.
Actual conversation.
ስጋ ወጥ ነው እና ብዙም አያቃጥልም፣ ግን ትንሽ ብቻ ነው። ቲማቲም ምናምን ስላደረግንበት ብዙም አያቃጥልም።
ምን ያህል ጊዜ ነው የፈጀብሽ እሱን ለማጋገር?
እንጀራውን ለመጋገር ላይክ ወደ 1 ሰዓት ነው። በጣም 20 ምናምን እንጀራ ነው የጋገርኩት። ወጡን ለመስራት ግን በጣም ረጅም ሰዓት ነው የፈጀው ነው። ከአባት ውስጥ ሆኖ በጣም ሲና ብዙ ጊዜ ነው የፈጀው።
Is that good enough?
That is very good.
Okay.